Dr. Stephen Shafer, one more time, another powerful, simple argument. You don't give someone propofol and leave their side. You watch their every breath. Real quick, let's bring back our criminal defense attorney, John Manuelian. It's an uphill battle for the defense, isn't it, John?
Absolutely. Very, very tough case, but they got to keep going. And remember, Mike, it's now the defense's turn to go up at bat.
All right, John, we'll be talking again in just a little bit. Criminal defense attorney John Manuelian joins us now. And John, we've found out game plan change, at least from where we sit, that it's not J. Michael Flanagan doing the cross-examination. It's Ed Chernoff. Our first reaction is, whoa, there must be some kind of upheaval with the defense. You say maybe not. Explain that again to our viewers.
Yeah, it's very common when you work on a large case that all the attorneys have a very hands-on situation where Flanagan and Gourjian and Ed Chernoff are all working together as a collective front. So these soldiers for Mr. Murray could easily switch and, like you said, call an audible. So if somebody's sick or somebody's not up to the task, another attorney could switch. I wouldn't make anything of this, but I think based on the performance of Flanagan, the fact that he didn't really get any points across or get any darts on the board, I think Chernoff feels that he could do a much better job. And at this point, I kind of agree because I don't think Flanagan went anywhere. And I think if anybody's going to be better, it's going to be Chernoff since he's the lead. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Again, sounds like not unheard of, but obviously Flanagan not doing a great job at this point, at least with some of those expert witnesses, so let Ed Chernoff take a crack at it. Well, and he's going to have a tough opponent, so to speak, in Dr. Stephen Shafer as he tries to cross-examine. Let's listen to a little bit more of that testimony that the jury heard and get your take on it. Talking about basically that Conrad Murray is responsible for Michael Jackson's death. Here we go.
And it's your opinion that Conrad Murray will still be a direct cause of Michael Jackson's death, correct?
Yes.
And why is that?
That's because he is a physician who has brought propofol into the room, started an intravenous, and provided access to propofol to a patient who may in fact be developing a dependency on sedatives. And he has been entrusted by Michael Jackson to look after his safety every night, and he has failed that responsibility while enabling the administration of intravenous propofol. He is responsible for every drop of propofol in that room.
And lorazepam?
Every drop of lorazepam in that room.
All right, John, there you go. Back to the prosecution's opening argument. That is medical abandonment. Michael Jackson trusted Conrad Murray, and because of that trust, he paid with his life. You hear any openings in there anywhere as a defense attorney you can begin to attack and chip away at Stephen Shafer?
You know, Mike, I was listening to Shafer, Steinberg, and all the experts. They're solid. They're very, very tough to cross. And unfortunately for the defense, Shafer hasn't even taken a paycheck on this case because he wants everybody to know that propofol is a very safe drug, and he doesn't want anesthesiologists to now have these regulations being put in because of the Michael Jackson case. So you don't have the bias issue as far as being paid. He seems very logical. He's an educated person. He explains everything succinctly and clearly to the jury, and he makes logical sense. So you're going to have a really tough time as a defense attorney to poke holes. A good defense attorney or a solid defense attorney may want to actually not ask any questions. Sit down. Put Dr. Paul White on the stand. Have White explain everything to the jury. Remember, the burden is on the prosecution in this case. I know defense attorneys like to go up and cross-examine and make points, but if you can't make any points and you're going to do more damage, why cross an expert in the first place? But unfortunately, that takes a lot of discipline.
So you're saying, and probably won't happen, but you would consider not even crossing Stephen Shafer. Just get him out of there and get your own expert up.
Mike, there's an attorney down here, Harlan Braun, Thomas Mesereau. You might have heard these names. I know these attorneys that have tried cases not asking one question on the cross and just standing up and explaining to the jury reasonable doubt has not been met and getting acquittals. It's really not difficult. You don't want to overtry your case. But I think because of the media, the pressure that's being put on, there's going to be a lot of appellate issues. I think these lawyers feel that they have to get up there and they have to cross because it was so damaging. But again, if you're not going to poke holes and you're going to do more damage by asking cross questions, what's the point?
Yeah, and you made the point. You and I were sitting next to each other when Flanagan opened the door for Dr. Alon Steinberg and he ran a Mack truck through it, helping establish for the prosecutors a drip was going. And we heard that confirmed yesterday. Let's listen to a little bit more here. As again, and you make the point. He's going to be tough to cross-examine. Here he is laying out another simple point that basically Dr. Murray did whatever Michael Jackson wanted. Here we go.
What I saw was a patient who stated what he wanted. I want this, I want this, I want this. And I saw that Conrad Murray said, yes, tell me what you want, I'll do it.
And that, okay, the defense is going to want to, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm imagining, they're going to want to put the focus on Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson as addict, Michael Jackson as desperate, doing things Conrad Murray knew nothing about. But that, what we just heard, even cuts into that, basically saying you're his doctor. And you kind of had a hint there were other doctors involved, all the more reason to be more vigilant.
That's exactly why I'm saying, what is Ed Chernoff going to possibly do? In my opinion, I think we're going to see another Mack truck, like you said, steamroll all over the defense. That's not my style of practice. What I would do is I would ask minimal amount of questions, if at all, and just put my experts on the stand and remind the jury that the defense doesn't have any burden. The burden is on the prosecution in this case. And Mike, the name of the game is reasonable doubt, which is the highest level of certainty required under the law. This is the battle of the experts. So if you believe Paul White, it goes to the favor of Murray. They got to quit him. If you don't believe Paul White, then there could be other reasonable doubts. But this might not be a good tactic for Ed Chernoff to go toe-to-toe with Dr. Shafer. But we're going to find out right now.
Hey, what do you make of their friends, from what we gather, Stephen Shafer, Paul White? Paul White is the defense expert on propofol and things of that nature, and we know Stephen Shafer is prosecutor's expert. So they're friendly. White, we're gathering, is a little upset, taking things a little personal here as his friend is disappointed in his work. What goes on, John? What does a criminal defense attorney do in that case with your star witness, your defense expert? I mean, how do you talk them through that and keep them calm so they can do their job?
Well, this is what I would do. I would put my hands on Dr. Paul White's shoulders and said, don't take this personally. This is about a case. We're all being professional here. You don't have to take this personally and be a professional. And get up there and tell him what you believe in. Get up there and tell him why you believe that Dr. Murray didn't commit gross negligence. Tell him why you believe the propofol dissipated through the system, and be confident. That's what you need to do. But it's very difficult. I mean, you have the expert Paul White sitting there directly across Shafer and looking at him as Shafer's telling him in court that he basically doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah. I mean, that's the summation of Shafer's testimony. So it's very difficult. Can you imagine if it was, you know, you sitting down there and they're saying Michael Enos doesn't know what he's talking about? Right. But you got to put it into check upstairs, and you got to let him know that it's okay.
No, that's good, because he basically laid out there, and this is through a couple of snickers from Shafer, that this theory that White came up with, that Michael Jackson may have swallowed propofol, not even possible. And then he went on a litany of studies, even one he conducted himself in Chile. So you make some good points here. We'll see. Don't miss it. Coming up, 3:45 Eastern, 12:45 Pacific, the cross-examination of Dr. Stephen Shafer. John, great talking to you. We'll catch up a little bit more in a little